Restoring Men in History, Manliness, and we're going on with that same article, and we're going to continue to expand on it, give you some more quotes, and hopefully fire you up for the month and year so you can increase in manliness and go, gentlemen, go. All right, let's start with this quote. There is a constantly reoccurring notion that real manhood is different from simple anatomical maleness. That is not a natural condition that comes about spontaneously through biological maturation, but rather is a precarious or artificial state that boys must win against powerful odds. Right now, you've got big odds going against you, but let's go on. The recurrent notion that manhood is problematic, a critical threshold that boys must pass through testing, is found at all levels of sociocultural development, regardless of what other alternative roles are recognized. David Gilmour. So this is from that article referenced in Manliness Part 1 video. If you like this video, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Thank you. What are the tests today? What are the rites of passage? What are you going through? Who's taking you through rites of passage? And here we go on. We know manliness when we come across it. We do, right? You see it on screen. You see it in real life. We know manliness when we come across it, he says. Yet we no longer speak of it. We know it innately without having to explain it, what a real man is and how he acts without us being taught to us. But while the knowledge is innate, the possession of the virtue can only be what? Earned. We know that a coward can't be him, he says. This is his point. A complainer? No. So we're talking the positives of virtue too as well. We know what it is to be manly, right? You see it. You know it. You know it when you see it, right? Think about Sean Connery and James Bond. Watch a Sean Connery film. You'll see it. If you want a weak society controlled by totalitarians, create weak men that can't stand peacefully and oppose the narratives and oppose the ideas and win peacefully with ideas that will just go along. Okay, he goes on. We've created an excuse that allows for ease. We have created ease in society. Lying and cheating rather than grit, honor. And we talk about grit a lot and resilience and these qualities that you can choose today, by the way. You see, this is the great thing about this. You can choose to have grit today. You can choose to have perseverance today. And I think you could reflect upon this every week and listen to this often to keep in mind that you want to have grit, that you want to have resilience. And these things are free. You can work on them. You're in control of them, gentlemen. You can choose to have grit. You don't have to have any money. You can choose to have perseverance. You don't have to have any money. All right, let's go on, because that's in part 1. Anyway, he says we have a keen understanding that being manly doesn't really come with age. It's something more than hair on the chest and out. Right, it's not about getting to the gym. It's good to go to the gym because that keeps another part of you fit, and that's physical, and we believe that is important too. And how are you going to protect your wife and kids if you're completely weak physically? But the point is, really what we're focused on is the internal, and that's what makes a man, right? Heart, mind, soul, and the internal, the virtues, right? You develop courage and loyalty and perseverance, resilience, and these qualities, and you'll be a man. It's all qualities, right? It's not how you look. You don't have to be good looking. You don't have to be tall. You can be short. You can be tall. You can be anything you want. It's these virtues. And that's a great thing, right? Because anyone can have and achieve this. All of you out there can choose manliness. All the virtues, they're internal. Geez, it doesn't matter how you look like. It doesn't matter how wealthy you are. It doesn't matter about your position. It doesn't matter about your title, right? You can all choose this. And that's great, right? You should see that as great. That's fantastic, because you can all choose grit and persistence and perseverance and resilience. All right, he goes on and talks about World War I, people charging in. All right, it's the manliness among us who said, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country. Here's a good one, the manliness among us, and this is true. The manliness among us expects what? More from themselves. I think that's true. I bet Elon Musk expects a lot of himself. I think Robert E. Lee did when I read his bio, right? We expect a lot. I don't know who's the manliness, but whomever these guys are that I read about, they seem to expect a lot of themselves. Elon Musk seems to expect a lot of himself. So the people who studied the manliness among them seem to expect a lot of themselves. And I think that's true about those guys. Going on. Making complaining illogical, but also more from all of us. The manly among us realize that we were owed nothing in this life. Look, if you get a mentality that you're owed nothing, I think most of you will go further. I don't think it helps to have a victim mentality. We have this oppressor-oppressed mentality going on. I think that's good for totalitarians, and it keeps people down. I don't think it helps you to be a victim. I don't think it helps you to be the oppressed. It certainly doesn't help us get along either. So he says, oh, nothing in this life, but we're given the right to what? Work hard and persist. So you have the right to work hard and persist. And gratitude, I believe, is manly. Every day having some gratitude. By the way, if you get down, gratitude is an answer. I think to some of you, it has been. For me, if I'm a little disappointed in something, I say, oh, but I got this. I'm grateful for this, right? I'm grateful for this. I write it down. I write down 5 things. You know, here's the thing. Here's a gratitude exercise. You can write down 5 things you're grateful for in the morning. All right? All right, let's go on. So I know men that go on, Kurt, Jack, and others that are men of perseverance. They keep going, and you can keep going. Won't complain, but complaining won't usually get you to your goal. Right, complaining won't usually get you to your goal. What do you want your time spent? Here's the thing. I made a little note here. Complaining won't usually get you to your goals or developing. How do you want your time spent, and where do you want it spent? Complaining or taking action and working on it? I know everybody's going to go through that sometimes. I guess the overall point is try not to do it as much, you know. Everybody's going to do it sometimes, right? Or some people are going to do it sometimes. That's fine. Just try to take action over that. Does that make sense? Just try to start taking little actions. You can choose complaining or working toward your goals, right? It's a choice. You can choose complaining or developing yourself. You can say, oh, I wish I was born in this. I wish I was this. I wish I was that. Or you can say, I'm going to work toward that. I'm going to work toward that. And I'm going to get that. I'm going to work to it. We'll see what happens. But I'm going to take the steps, and I'm going to be in the process. Can't worry about the outcome. I'm going to get in the process and do what I need to do. Oh, I like this one. This is a good quote. The greatest thing a man can possibly do in this world is to make the most possible out of the stuff that he's been giving him. We have said this. This is success, and there is no other. So look how you can define success. It is not a big house. It is not position title for most people, is what I mean. It doesn't have to be. And I guess if you want to call it that, it can be. It's your life. But this is a good definition of success because you have control over, right? There are things you can control and things you can't. Greatest thing a man can possibly do in this world is make the most possible out of the stuff he has been given him, right? If you can be the best at what you're doing, that's what you can do. This is what you can control. This is success and there's no other. So think if you define success this way, rather than material possessions or title position. How far could you go? Would you feel better? I'm just asking. Greatest thing a man can do in this world is to make the most possible out of the stuff that has been given him. Have you done that? That's a great definition of success, I believe. Make the most possible out of the stuff you've been given, out of the talents you have, out of your unique self, by the way. You are unique. There's no one else like you on this whole earth. One of you. You have unique talents. I have another line I say, start with what you got and get going. So what do you have today? Start, get going toward your goals, what you want. So everyone today, or most people, many people, have the opportunity of this word and how it's defined of this kind of success. Almost everybody has this possibility, right? I mean, there may be some people that are incredibly unhealthy that just can't get out. But the point is most have this opportunity and can reach this definition of success. Do you want to reach this definition of success? Because you can start today. Use the talents you have, are you? Do you want to reach your potential? Going on, he says, it's not a question of what someone else can do or become, which every youth should ask yourself, but what can I do? What can you do? Ask yourself that now. What can you do, gentlemen? How can I develop myself into the grandest possible manhood? Orson Swett Martin. Our society is set up, this is an important part, it's really going on today with oppressor-oppressed, victim mentality. Our society, he says here, back to the piece, is set up to apologize for the failures of others, right? Now, how's that going to help those people? To find reasons for the suffering of the masses, not to call them to action, nor to show everyone within a society how to stand erect on their own. So, right, we talked about this. We have an oppressor oppressed. This is pushed down from the Marxist. It fits their dialogue. There's a reason for it. There's a plan with it. Totalitarians like it. Marxists like it. The culturalists, Marxists like oppressor oppressed. Always a victim. You can see it in the news continually. But who does it help? Does it help someone to feel them that they are oppressed, that they're a victim? Or would it be better if they just get going? But who gains from it? The people that want more power gain from it, right? Then they can hand out favors, right? So they're not trying to make you better. We want you to be better. See, we want you to be the best you can be. We want you to reach your potential. So it's a good way to control people and hand out favors, right? So it makes complete sense. It's a very logical path for them. Going on, here's a big one. We bail out the banks and the auto industry when they fail, but the same is done when the poor when they fail. Well, we could do a whole stop here on the Fed and the banks and too big to fail in that whole catastrophe and that whole mismanagement, but I don't think we will. But what message do we send out when we bail out Wall Street, too big to fail, and the banks? What message do we send? Wall Street welfare. We give without merit, without expecting more, without reason. We reward greed and weakness. Well, we reward victims too, right? There's attention given to that, right? The media and the Marxists give attention to victims. Give attention to a girl who wants to become a man who wants to become a woman. Oppressed. All right, return our backs to manliness. Not only is this the counterproductive, but it rips from man what he needs most in life, even if he's unaware how much he needs it. By the way, there's been guys that have come into the groups and said, oh, wow, I needed this, right? All right, that's a great line. Rip from a man what he needs most in life. How do you feel when you go through obstacles and overcome? And it builds confidence, right? You overcome something, it builds confidence usually. Shows you can take care of things. All right, it is weak to ask less of a man because he started lower than you. It's pity. It isn't weakness to help them, though. Right, it's not weakness to help people, especially your good friends, right? Because we should be about helping our good friends and others, right? Nor is it weakness to show him how to help himself, right? So you got oppressed people, or you can have people that are trying to help people get better. Showing him how to help himself. It's not a weakness to help people. That's also manly. But the male who pities the other man's state in life and the man who willfully receives the pity, this pity falls short of what it means to be a man because a male becomes a man online in hardships. Look, hardships can form you. They can make you understand others. They can give you empathy. They can make you better. Struggles can make you as men. So you can, in a way, appreciate them, right? And generally will not help you to receive the pity. And society's doing a lot of that. So who's that helping? Well, it helps people empower someone. Factions that want weak men. Factions that want a weak society to control. We want you strong. It's hardship that should not be avoided, but trudged through and conquered. Yes, conquer. We want you to make it through and conquer. What's going to happen? Then you're going to gain confidence. With each victory, you will gain more and more confidence, generally, I believe. I think that will happen. Each thing you overcome, each challenge. Life is struggles and challenge. It's probably not going to go smooth for all of you, but you can get back up and keep going. You can win. Embrace it. Have a mentality that hardships will make you better, right? Embrace it. Hardships can make you better. The fire that makes a male and man around you is if you're forced to struggle early. Okay, if you're born into wealth like TR, the struggle and the fire is something you're going to have to hunt for. TR, by the way, was a sickly boy, and he read a lot, and that's in the biographies that I read. But he went out to that ranch to develop himself. And he was so sickly, but he used the time well, didn't he? So he was sickly as a boy and used that time to read all these great books, develop his mind, right? Develop his soul. So he used the time well when he was sickly. So there was a purpose in that. That developed his mind. All right, is this why we no longer use manliness as virtue? Because it calls to action everyone within a society, be it the rich, the poor, go ahead. Do you feel called to action today? Notice this theme that keeps coming up over and over. Do you feel called to action today? Keep going. Don't feel sorry for yourself. Why has manliness left us? And why do we run from something that leaves every man filled with a sense of pride and community? Why do we run from something that leaves every man with a sense of pride? Well, there's a reason, right? The earned virtue. When someone tells a man to be a man, they mean that there is a way to be a man. A man is not just a thing to be, it is also a way to be, a path to follow, and a way to walk. Good quote. Some try to make manhood mean everything. This is Jack Donovan. Others believe that it means nothing at all. Being good at being a man can't mean everything, and it has always meant something, Jack Donovan. A male cannot become a man or become more manly without adversity, he says. Manliness is bred and born in fire, and plain this is true. I do think the fire develops you. Iron sharpens iron too, right? So you can acknowledge that something that may have been painful or obstacles you've gone through made you better, made you stronger. So closely linked to toughness and courage and bravery, he says. You go through that fire, test yourself, develop yourself, and then you have the toughness. Seneca said, no man is more unhappy than he who never faces adversity. Think about that. No man is more happy than he who never faces adversity. For he is not permitted to prove himself. How are you going to prove yourself? The proving of oneself may be partially external to other men and women, but the proving of oneself must primarily be what? Internal. We talk about the internal all the time. It's vital then that a male gets adversity in his life, in every facet of his life. So be thankful and grateful for what? Adversity, right, gentlemen? When adversity comes, you can say, hey, this is how you can face it. This is going to make me better. Oh, things went badly. We're going to fix this. We're going to make this better. Be it the physical adversity that comes from trying to get physically stronger, or the adversity that comes in the midst of a fight. The struggle is where you find manliness, he says. It's where you create the manly virtue. Here's another quote. It is of dangerous consequence to represent to man how near he is to the level of beast without showing him at the same time his greatness. It is likewise dangerous to let him see his greatness without his meanness. It is more dangerous yet to leave him ignorant of either, but very beneficial that he should be made sensible of both. Pascal. Thomas Carlyle was able to communicate, let's go on, let's finish these quotes, was able to communicate the natural internal desire that men have, guiding us to lead a purposeful life. Look, we want you. The courage we desire and prize is not the courage to die decently, but live manfully. Fantastic, right? Because you're in control of this. You can do that. You can do this. And by the way, if you're looking for inspiration, you can read the biographies of Churchill. You can read the biographies of John Wayne. You can watch the movies of John Wayne. There are many things you can do to help develop manliness and courage. Watch good movies, mostly classics a lot, but the John Wayne films. Read Churchill's biographies. Read TR's biographies. Read some of these books. Elon Musk has there's a new one out on Elon Musk. But not just for yourself, but for society, for America, for civilization, for our friends, for our great friends, for women, for men, for our country. America needs strong men of manly virtues. As men go, so goes America, and so goes the world. Reach for excellence. Achieve your potential. Know that you are one unique person in the universe, and no one else is like you. You can choose it today to have loyalty, to have courage, to execute on these virtues. Choose excellence. Thank you. If you like this message, please like, comment, subscribe, and hit the notification bell.